So, in this video, we're going to be watching a Bronze Widow. This Widow basically says, I'll summarize a little bit of this. They played Widow all game, they were getting their DPS and support, said they did better than their whole team, and literally carried. But spent a lot of the time in this also trying to blame their tank. So I'm curious to see what the case is with this game. Also, they said they've been in Bronze since Season 1, even played 200 games last season on DPS. So it wasn't like it was 5-10 games. It's been 200 games last season alone. 190 games last season alone on DPS in Bronze. So we're going to see what happens here. I'm very curious if this is quite the case or not. But apparently this game, the Widow absolutely dominated. Now, this brings me back to a video we had, I'd say a month or two ago. I think it might have been the second channel, actually, where we had a Widow who essentially said the same thing. That they absolutely dominated.
Can't change the world by following.
Absolutely dominated. And we watched the VOD, and it was certainly something. Also, this is a recent VOD too. You want to know why? Because didn't that weapon charm just come out yesterday? This is like yesterday or today. Oh, nice shot. What?
Thank you.
You're just like stopping at times. That was a nice shot, but I don't. First of all, are you duoed with your tank, or is it just so happen you get on a team where you have like there's 2 Vipers on a team? No health back? I mean, they're getting healed, I think. It's like, okay, so far, you've hit some, like, pretty good shots at times, but other times you're just like... Am I missing something here?
The name's Cassidy.
Hello. You're a joke.
What is it? Wait, what is...
You're a joke.
What just happened? I don't... What is... You said you got their supports, and I'm sitting here thinking you're going to be grappling into the air, hitting 180 shots. Meanwhile, the Ana just walks up there and looks down at the ground. Does the Ana even see you? I don't understand. Wait, what is... I gotta see this.
Most of Halo.
Hello. You're a joke. You're a joke.
Okay, you got the Mercy there.
Thank you. No one can hide from my sight.
The fight is imminent.
I mean, those aren't bad shots. But that was a pretty good shot. But I feel like, at least what I can tell so far, your positioning is like you'll take your. I don't know how to explain it. It's like sometimes if you see somebody, you sometimes won't even go for the shot because you're waiting for the perfect moment on that shot, and then you end up just... It's like you'll see somebody, but then you wait a second, and then your positioning is not as ideal. Big slam! And, like, just to talk about your comp, by the way, you're mentioning your tank. I just want to point that out. First of all, yep, rock. But, like, keep in mind, you said that, like, your tank wasn't creating space. Look at the comp you're on. Your tank is on Sigma against a Rhine comp, right? And so far, like, your tank's space creation is damage output. And your tank's doing some damage right there. So that's the space creation of Sigma. And Sigma on this map's pretty good. Like, that's how it works. Like, you have to play a little bit further back.
They got us outnumbered. Keep that in line.
Hello.
Exactly, and if they're on that map, Sigma's good. Yeah, they have a Bastion.
You can't hide
We're just waiting for the perfect moment here. So you said you carried and constantly kept getting their supports. Well, not constantly. You said they got their supports. What I don't understand so far is it feels like you're kind of waiting. You're hoping that people will fly into like where you're aiming, and then if you see somebody bottom left, you don't even. You're like, I'm not gonna bother moving my crosshair here. I can't explain it. Here, I'm gonna go watch the tank for a second. Actually, let me watch the opener here because you said the tank wasn't creating any space for you. But like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Most of the time, they weren't even near you.
The goddess is here. Enemy turret is infrasight charging. Misery made manifest. Enemy turret
Like, it's like talking about space creation. By the way, it's your Orisa is trying to be aggressive, but your Orisa can't be aggressive because the team's just right there. So as you get more picks, this isn't too bad so far. I will say you definitely hit some good shots, by the way.
Stay out of my way.
Like, talking about that, like, you've been hitting good shots. It's just, sometimes I think you wait a little bit too long to make a play. But, like, listen. And obviously we play a good amount of tank. I'm not going to sit here and say this game is specifically on the tank.
up here.
Oh, it's a big slam. I mean, listen. The Rhine flanked and shattered. Oh yeah, no, their comp for a tank is not ideal to play against. Go back to the Widow now. Here's the thing. If you're able to put like pressure on the Bastion right now and just get a bunch of limbs on Bastion, or at least make it so the Bastion can't do what they're doing, you're gonna find that your tank will also get more value. Sometimes both of those roles there can help each other out by, yeah, maybe tank gets a bit more aggressive, but if you also can helping with some of that, like, this Ana just chills sometimes. I mean, you just got slept by an Ana. There's a Rhine behind you. There's a Rhine behind you. All right, so listen. I want to talk about this very quickly. We got to talk about this. If you're referencing this Reinhardt in the back line as space creation, I'm going to tell you this much. If you want your tank to go Reinhardt and charge into their back line, I think it's going to be the same experience. All right? I think it's going to be the exact same experience. If you want your Reinhardt, if you want your, like, Orisa to change Reinhardt and do the same thing, look at the comp the other team's running. That is a Junkrat Torb. That is not going to go well. That is not going to go well. So, like, if you're, like, going, oh, the tank behind us. Meanwhile, your tank's up here. Look at your tank. Talking about space creation, see? Your tank's creating space there, too. Problem being is that your team chased the Reinhardt behind, but if you chase the Reinhardt behind, that Reinhardt's going to get the full value because you're going into a small room against a Reinhardt. You know what I'm saying? I just want you to see this. Your Soldier 76 sprinted at a Reinhardt. Now, where's your Orisa? Going for the Rhine. Look at it.
This is not as usual.
I want you to think about your positioning sometimes too. Yeah. 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 I'm okay. Here's my take. I think your tank is going up against a pretty difficult comp to go against to begin with. I think one thing you can try doing in these situations, especially where you're like, oh, you know, it has to be on the tank at this point. Try to take angles that are a little bit more... I'm trying to think of a way to explain it. Some of the angles you're taking, you're waiting for something to happen, but if you take an angle where you can kind of put pressure on their team when the Reinhardt is being aggressive, like this is actually what I'm referencing. But see, like right there, you're waiting for like a perfect opportunity. So they're like not really afraid to peek. So while that's happening and nothing's happening, the Reinhardt just can do whatever they want, right? Like this is what I mean about like a good like angle for now. But see, your tank is trying to create that space. But when you have a Bastion just sitting there, like creating that space there, what? Maybe you have your tank go diva, but then the same thing happens. I know you got the Bastion there, but like you see how long things are happening between team fights? You see what I mean? Like it's. I don't think this is a lack of your tank trying to create space. It's just, it's actually really difficult. Oh yeah, there you go. Hey, you got that team fight. You know what else? And now that I see this, I think like you probably could have just swapped off with. You know what you could have probably done? And just to talk about this for 1 second, like you probably could have went like Ashe or something, or even like Sojourn and just try to farm up on like the, rather than just stay on Widow the whole time. Because I feel like your tank was trying to be aggressive. You were waiting for the perfect, like, angle and perfect shot. But if it doesn't happen, then you need to go and, like, find the areas of the map where that space is being created and then do that, right? You can't expect your Ramattra to go and kill 3 and then, like, oh, now we have space, right? So, when that happens, you got to try to be more proactive. Like, go and make a play more. Or, you know, swap heroes if, like, it's not working at that point. Right? You just went Pharah and look what happened. You got the point. There's more pressure on the team that is just running at your Ramattra to begin with. Or Sigma, or Orisa. You know what I'm saying? You see how now, like, your tank is now being able to play more aggressive, right? Their tank is now dying when they're playing aggressive, and you're not sitting in the back just waiting for something to happen. So sometimes being proactive with these swaps, oh, that was a play, is, like, not really a bad idea. I'm gonna be honest with you, sometimes a Pharah just in the back line, staying alive and just making a play is still a good play. The Pharah swap has been pretty good. In my opinion. Now, this is a time where... That's fine. Oh, it's a big slam. Okay. All right, listen. You know what? I watched this for an exact reason, and it was when you had talked about. You said basically your tank wasn't really playing well, and your tank was not creating space for your team. I'm gonna be real with you. I don't really think this was on the tank specifically. I think this came down to the other team had a lot of pressure on the tank, and it made it hard for your teammates to play aggressive. And the moment you switched to a hero that allowed you to flank a little bit more and make a little bit more of an aggressive play, your team did a lot better. Now, imagine if you make that swap, like, 5 minutes sooner, right? You go, okay, you know what? I'm playing Widow right now. I'm trying to play these perfect angles, and nothing's happening. If you're willing to swap to Pharah at some point there, then make that swap. Be more proactive and aggressive in their backline, and I guarantee you're going to see your tank do just as much. Sometimes, like, both of the roles there will have to play a little bit, I guess, better, but, like, it has to happen at the same time. If you're just waiting forever to switch. So, to the initial reference where you said... you lost this game because your tank could barely make space, and you said you you were better than your whole team and literally carried. I don't know if that's quite the situation here, just to give you an idea. To be honest with you, all right? What I will say is this. Your aim wasn't too bad. If there's stuff you can work on, be ready to make that swap when you need to. If there's a game like this. Also, your positioning, sometimes you spent too much time going to like a set spot to wait for something to happen rather than taking the space that was created, right? There was space creation where you could have had more aggressive angles or you could have played a little bit closer, especially with the Widow changes now, right? Aggressive angles are going to be even more important because sometimes you won't have that range. You do that, I think you'll probably see a little bit more of a climb because you said you played bronze for 190 games last season on DPS. Try to be more proactive sometimes in those plays that you're making and be aggressive with the angles. Sometimes space creation doesn't necessarily mean you need the whole map. Sometimes space creation is zoning out an area, and then you have an area of the map that you now can take angles at, and then you make plays, right? Space creation isn't like you're playing King's Row, and you have now created all of second point for your team, and the only spot they can play at is in the back of second point waiting for you, right? That ain't going to happen sometimes. So if there's space created, even if it's just a little bit, that's when you take that space. And I will say, I think your tank did a fairly decent job of being aggressive enough to where like you could have had those angles. Anyway, that's my take on that. Hope everybody enjoyed this video. Per usual, you can join my Discord to submit VODs. It would be under the Spectating Bingo channel. We're starting to take more submissions now from Bronze, Silver, Gold, and Plat. So if you're any of those ranks right now, we're definitely going to be watching some of those VODs. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Like I said, hit the like button, sub to the YouTubes if you haven't. Hope you all have an amazing day/night.